I'm getting ready to take a few shots with Bunjie in the backyard. And I thought I'd do a video, not about how much I love Bunjie, but about 5 things that I hate about the Burris Oracle X. I do love this scope. And if you have one of these scopes, you are very fortunate. Once they're sighted in, they're fantastic, especially in a crossbow like Bunjie, this vintage crossbow. 16th season killed a bear with this crossbow and this scope up in Manitoba. What more can you ask for? This scope is really a godsend for a crossbow like this, especially for those crossbows that got a lot of arc to their arrows, to their shots, you know what I'm saying? Because this gives you that precise reticle when you use the remote, push a little button, and aim with this scope. You get a little dot and it's perfect. But there's a few things that I don't like about this scope. I've been using it for a couple of years. I've had many of them. I've sold a couple. I am downsizing a little bit. I still have at least 2 of these scopes. One of them will stay on this crossbow until something better comes along. But right now I really love this scope. But there's a few things that I would change about it, and I hope they change in the future versions of this scope. This video is not so much what I hate about the Burris Oracle X as it is things I hope they change in future versions. Burris Oracle X need to put a battery in it. Oh no! Right? I know you get worried about that, but I'm going to show you pretty slick here. Anybody that has a Burris Oracle X knows that one of the many things you hate about the Burris Oracle X is that battery compartment. Yeah. So I'm here to show you something from Ravin Creations. Check out this tool right here. This is a battery replacement tool, very similar to the other ones that I've used, but you can buy it directly from Ravin Creations. It's got the customized perfect slot for your cap to fit in there perfect. Look at that, nice and smooth. And check this out. It's got a real heavy duty little compartment here where you can store the battery. You can put a spare battery in there. That battery's dead. Get rid of that battery. That's no good. We use the spare battery. You don't need that battery. We got one right here. So we take that out of here and we put it in there properly. But the cool thing about this too is it's got real heavy duty threads. Check that out. And those heavy duty threads, it's so easy to put this back in there and just line it up and stick it on there, and look at that, screws right back in place. It's the kind of threads that Burris should have used when they made this thing in the first place. But I want to show you how slick this is. This nice long tool, the scope right here is not going to get in the way of my hands. We put this right in here like this, and we screw it in fast, and kaboom, we're done. Look at that. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Goes right in there. Lines right up. I just leave the flap open too, because that little flap can be a big pain in the butt too, you know what I'm saying? Now, I have added the accessory orange tape, right? So that if I drop it, I can see it a lot quicker. The fluorescent orange painter's tape is not included. You can add your own if you wish, but I can tell you that they make this same tool in orange. So, just get the orange one. Or the black one. Black's cool though, right? Obviously, battery life's an issue, right? Certain firmware models or something, there's a firmware update, you can send it back. There is no warranty in the crossbow hunting business that is better or even compares to the Burris Oracle X Scope warranty. It's just the best. You've got a problem with it, send it to them. They either fix it or replace it. They don't even ask any questions. Just send them you can smash it up and send it to them and they'll fix it. Some of them had fine battery life, and other ones that just went dead real fast, and I can't tell you if it's the firmware, what it is. I did get new firmware installed on each of these, sent them back, so that the ones that I have left all have the most updated firmware or pretty recent firmware, and maybe that helps, maybe it doesn't. This one, the battery is now dead. I just left it in there. Usually I just take the battery out, right? And I like to see battery life that wasn't as critical, or ease of use in installing the battery, one or the other. Just put bigger threads or one thread, right, where you push it in and turn it and it's locked in place, something like that, it would be fine. Another thing I don't really care for about this is the weight. Recently, I got that Hawk Zoom FFP, which is not appropriate for a crossbow like this. They don't even make it for this crossbow. They don't even make it for semi-modern crossbows like the SWAT X1. It won't work on there because those aren't fast enough. But for the faster crossbows, the more faster, modern, and ultra-modern crossbows, they can work very well with that Zoom FFP style scope. And when I put that on, the R29X from Ravin, holy cow, like, it's so light compared to this. It isn't that much lighter, but it's half the weight of this. It does take almost a pound off the overall weight. And moving around the backyard, a pound's a pound, I guess, even there, or hunting or what have you. So that is a thing, and that was an issue for me. So the weight is another thing that I would like to see them work on in a future version. The length of it doesn't really bother me, okay? So that the size isn't the problem, but it's the weight. While we're at it, I don't think it's possible, but if you can make it so that you don't need to have a cheek piece, right? So that it works without changing the crossbow. Like, make one that just bolts on to a Picatinny rail and boom, you're done. That gets rid of all those mounting issues in the bottom. That I have never had an issue with the frame of this scope, with the mount of this scope coming loose, but people complain about that. And, for me, it's never been an issue. Never been an issue. But certainly if it is an issue, let's get that fixed. I think it has to be raised up to make room for the range finding thing down in here. The range finder's down here. And so the scope is kind of raised up with the range finder under it. And if that is a requirement, if that is just a technological thing, a technical thing that has to exist, then so be it. However, if it would be nice to not have to have an added cheek piece. The adjustments for windage and elevation. You have a little soft, pathetic Allen wrench set screw that you have to turn, and no wrench properly fits it, and it strips it out, and then you shoot it one time and you have to tighten it down again before you can shoot it again. And that's ridiculous. It slows down the sighting into this crossbow scope unnecessarily. So I would like to see them change that. I've added this little screw on the front, but you still need an Allen wrench to tighten it down and loosen it. But it still is more stable. It'll last longer than the set screw that came with it. These little screws that are tucked in here need a different model. Go with what the speed scopes. Put a cap on there, so once you make your changes, click, 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 put the cap back on or something, or don't put the cap back on. But make it so that I don't have to tighten it and loosen it between every shot. That's ridiculous. It is ridiculous that I have to do that. It's annoying. It slows down the sighting in process so much that's why I went and put the old Twilight DLX on one of the SWATs instead of this. I still plan on putting this back on the SWAT, but I don't have time to sight it in. I don't have time to shoot 15 arrows and all the adjustments in between in order to get it dialed in perfectly. That's another thing I don't particularly care for. And on that note, I don't like how many shots I have to take to sight it in. Once it's done, it is so perfectly accurate that it's worth it. But it's not worth it on 4 different crossbows. Does that make sense? And on the higher speed crossbows like the Ravin R29X, I don't like shooting those crossbows that many times in order to sight this in. Just not interested in doing that, especially now that I've got that Zoom FFP from Hawk on the R29X. I'm just going to shoot that because when I put that in place, it's perfect. This, on the other hand, it's not coming off of here until something better comes along because it suits this crossbow perfectly. I get perfection out to 81 yards, right, with my 81-yard woodchuck shot. Well, I got a clear shot, I can tell you that. 81. Wait. All in all, I still love this scope. Don't think otherwise. With crossbows and with crossbow gear like scopes, you can't just try it over the course of a couple hours, shoot it a couple of times, and say, oh, this is the one for me. You change your opinion as time goes on, as you use other equipment. And that's why you've seen on Death by Bunjie, I use more and more equipment. I'm starting to branch out. It's contrary to my mindset because it's not that one gun philosophy. Stick with shoot one gun, shoot one scope, and you're better off. But the reality is, until you've experienced those other things, and until you have like a year or two experience with this one, you really don't know this one, right? Like I knew this scope, I knew that it had something for me when I first got it, when I got my first Burris Oracle X. And I am so glad that I've hunted with it. I've gotten a lot out of them. But over time, you start to see some room for improvement, but it's taken me 2 years to really discover that. And it's based on using other scopes as well and other crossbow scope combinations. Really can't just shoot something a couple of times and know all about it. I hope you got something out of that. I hope you're enjoying your Burris Oracle X or whatever scope you've chosen to use. And until next time, all hail Bunjie. let's shoot this thing a few times. How about that? Let's work this new string in. Oh yeah, Dave Myers, Flemish string right there. All right, so I want to be clear because I know there's a few friends of Bunjie out there right now who are saying, Rich, you've been telling us all along for 2 years now how great the Burris Oracle X is. And now we see you've got the Twilight DLX. You're going backwards on us, Rich. Come on. You're using a zoom scope, a modified vintage, updated version of a vintage scope on the R29X. Come on, what's going on here? I still love the Burris Oracle X. This is still my favorite scope of all time. This is still the perfect crossbow scope, in my opinion, right? On the Enforcer here, I've got the Burris Oracle X all set up, all sighted and ready to go to Maine with some Maine Hunter arrows, 500 grain arrows, ready to put one of those through a black bear, hopefully. I'm also going to hunt while I'm there, however, with the Patriot. And I am kind of excited. The only reason I put that scope on there really was because I was in a backyard and I didn't have anything dialed in, and I wanted to test those deep power arrows, which shot really well out of that crossbow with this scope and everything else. I had it dialed in and shooting consistently in 3 shots. I was pretty much ready to go with it. I really like that, and I like the ease of setting this up. I didn't really have time to set this up, right? So I went through and I did that just to make sure that I could sort of play around with those arrows to make sure that those arrows were going to perform. You know, are they any good? Are they consistent? That sort of thing. And this helped me figure that out very quickly. Then I got like sort of sentimental and nostalgic with it. I'm playing around with this scope and on this crossbow, and I'm like, man, you know, let's see what it does at 60 yards with the Maine Hunters. And I've got it dialed in beautiful with those Maine Hunter arrows. Can you believe that? I'm very excited about it. So I might actually start out my bear hunts in Maine with this crossbow and with this scope combination. It does not mean that I don't like this crossbow scope. It does not mean that, right? Still going forward for deer on that crossbow, that scope and crossbow combination is #1 in my book. I still think it's my version of crossbow hunting perfection, right? And we'll see what the new year brings. We'll see what the coming months bring as for new scopes, new crossbows, that sort of thing. Pretty exciting times indeed. So, until next time, by the time you see these 2 gorgeous crossbows again, the twins, by this time you see the twins again, hopefully I'll be in Maine. All hail Bunjie.